talk a lot about friend raising, not necessarily fundraising.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
So,
I've never heard that.
Yeah, so we feel like we can develop friends of the organization, and as long as we continue to do the right things for the kids in the community, then the funds will come, right? Some people are like, JT, I don't have any time, I don't have any money, but, I have this talent. Maybe it's photography, maybe it's, being able to help us line the fields or any of that stuff.
Oh, that's a good,
You know what I mean? So
it all counts.
Yeah, so they'll come and they'll give us their talent.
Welcome, everybody. John Henry from the Good Hustle Podcast, episode 45, I'm guessing. Today we literally have, and I mean this as honestly as I can get. I knew who this person was before he even knew I existed, because he didn't know who I was till about 6 months ago when I reached out to him. But he's done so much for the local community over the years, and I'm talking almost 20 years, that his name has been said in front of me. I can't even tell you how many times, but starting with golf tournaments and fundraisers that you do. But we do have a local legend, JT Dorsey. So JT, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. Like I said, you do a lot for the community, which we're going to kind of get into that. But you've had such a diverse career when it comes to soccer. And that's how you reach out to our community today, is through soccer.
Yeah.
But do you want to kind of give us a small deep dive into basically how your career started and the diversity of everything you've done through, when you were a kid till you were all through college?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, which, anybody that knows that knows it's not a healthy, rich soccer community.
Football's big.
Football's big. Basketball's big. So those were like the two major sports. And, I was in third grade and it was field day, right? Potato sack race, what's the thing? Put the egg on the spoon. We were going down all those games. And my teacher was like, hey, you're fast. You should go out for soccer. And I was like, okay. So, I took the paper home. I handed it to my mom. She was not really she didn't really tell us no. So she said, in those cases anyway, and things that she thought would be good for us. So she said, yeah, we'll go try. Did you get me any equipment or anything? No. I'm literally out there in sneakers, hiding on the grass, because she's like, why am I going to invest in this when he's not going to make the team, right?
Oh.
So little did she know it was a rec team. So
everybody makes
Nobody gets cut. Nobody gets cut. But yet she tried to talk the coach out of selecting me, right? He's like, no, he's athletic. He's, he fits in with the kids. He's working hard, despite sliding all over the place.
That's hilarious.
So, but for her, it was going to be like a thing of, how am I going to get him here all the time? I'm a single mom.
Resources.
Yeah. Resources. Right. So she let me play. Eventually, I really enjoyed it. Played a lot, made some really good friends there. And then as I played more, fast forward into about maybe age 13 or something, we moved from rec to travel, and then our travel team was relatively decent. And she just kind of got to the point where, I'm on free and reduced lunch and all other stuff. So we started traveling more, and she's like, I can't keep up with this. I can't support your sister and you and our own household would go into all these games, an hour away, 2 hours away, tournaments, stuff like that.
Because we're talking food on the road,
right?
Fuel,
yeah,
tolls, sometimes hotels.
Correct.
And in today's world, that's how all sports are. It's mind-boggling. But yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, so we got there, and I had to tell my best friend at the time, hey man, this is kind of going to be it for me. And he was, pretty upset, and, he told his parents, and his parents, complete godsend. They said to my mom, he's a good kid. He's a good character. You're raising him right. There's no reason why he shouldn't be able to play a game.
Real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to Deer Valley Land Transfer. When buying your home in the state of Pennsylvania or anywhere in the country, it's important to have title insurance to make sure there are no liens against the property or anything that may not be known, whether it's about the deed, size of the property, anything that you can find out that could be negative or harmful for you in the future, they protect you. This is an insurance that is mandated if you're getting a mortgage, and if you're paying cash, you should still do it anyway. Deer Valley Land Transfer.
So they basically said to her, do what you can, and, kind of we'll fill in the rest. Like, if that means write him a note so he can ride the bus home with our son, so then we can take him to practice and then get him to you. We'll do that. If that means, we have to pay for you to come with us, so, we get 2 hotel rooms, like, we'll do it, So, they were good God-fearing people and believed in people, and they believed in me. They saw the impact I was making with their family. I thank them every year for what they've done for me. And, I remember their dad, I call him the big dog, saying to me, you don't understand the impact that you had on our family.
You, right?
Yeah, let alone because I've always thanked them for what they gave to us in terms of being able to have me continue to play, and because of that, I was able to get a scholarship and go to Loyola and play soccer, and, really kind of change the trajectory of, what was going on and from where I lived and my family. So because of that, I was very, very grateful. But, he said, you gave probably more to us than we gave to you, especially monetarily.
Yeah.
The impact that you had on our family and our kids and our son and our daughter. So, you don't have to thank us for that.
And I think and people don't realize this, but even like with me being sober, when somebody reaches out to me that needs help and I have a conversation with them, ultimately it helps me more than it probably even helps them. And if people just gave a little bit, just even if it's just a little bit sometimes, the amount of rewards and things that people will remember. Like, I remember I had a teacher. I went to Carbon Valley, like a few blocks, a few hundred yards from here. Bad student, drugs, all that jazz. But I remember in 9th grade, I had Mrs. Ziegler. Shout out. She has since passed. But I failed her class. And she cried when she told me because she knew what I had in me. And she's the only teacher that did that. So will always have an impact on my life. Just those simple little things. So like for that, what's his name, by the way, the parents? What are their names?
Denny and Jan.
Denny and Jan. So when Denny says to you, ultimately, like, you've given more to us than we've given to you, like, how does that make you feel? Like, looking back on it today in hindsight, like, is that part of the thing that drives you today and to do some of the stuff that you are doing?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that they did is kind of the nucleus of why we even started the foundation. Getting into, having soccer and being able to go to school, get an education, playing a little bit of a pro, afterwards. That was extremely helpful because I really, I was like probably the dumb jock, right? Like, I'm an athlete, and I was told, like, and to be fair, like, I was a education major in elementary ed and a special ed, right? And African American, right?
Yeah.
So people are like, you're a unicorn, you're gonna work anywhere. I was like, okay, cool. So senior year, right? Like, my advisor's like, so where are you teaching next year? I'm like, I'm an African American male with a special ed and elementary ed degree. I'm going to teach anywhere. She's like, did you apply anywhere? And I was like, I thought people would come after me, right?
Oh,
Because
snap.
you're like, do the whole recruiting thing, right? like schools don't just like come after you. Like, you actually, she's like, JT, you do need to fill out an application. Right? And I was like,
That is amazing.
but like, you're just an athlete, right? So like,
Yeah, because people were knocking on your door before. You're like, wait, that doesn't happen at the next level? Like in my career? Now, there are headhunters and careers, but it's like you're fresh out of college. You're not even out of college yet.
No.
Because you're supposed to do, like, senior year, you're supposed to be doing things at schools at this point in time.
Yeah, I was. And they were like, we'd love to have you. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? But they're like,
so when do you send your recruiting office? That is amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So, so we start to, fortunately, I went with some buddies of mine, and they were playing with this team in Delaware, and the guy was like, hey, we want to sign you. And I was like, all right, cool. Cause like I didn't have anything.
Do I have to apply?
So, played there, and then I got moved up to play in Hershey.
So the Wildcats is what,
Wildcats.
right?
Yep.
And they played at the old arena, or was it on the field? I mean the Hershey Park Stadium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
played at Hershey Park Stadium.
Yeah.
So played there. While I was there, had an injury, tore my ACL. So that kind of like woke me up a little bit, right? Like what happens after athletics, right?
Yeah.
So, at the time I started coaching, because like, I was rehabbing trying to get back, right? And wasn't able to play yet. So, to kind of, you know, you don't want to idle mind an idle person because that's where you get into trouble.
Idle mind is a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, started coaching with a guy, Nicky Nikolic, who's kind of like a legend around here.
Even I know that name, and I didn't play soccer.
Yeah,
I know that name.
Yeah, so coached with him. A guy who was a manager of the team, one of the teams, he worked for the Department of Education. And he said, hey, and there's people that are opening a school. I know you got your special ed degree. Can you go there and help them out? Talk to the guy, just see what he says. So the guy ended up offering me, an opportunity to help out at the school while I was trying to get back.
While you're rehabilitating your ACL, yeah.
I was trying to get back. And it was, work with some really good kids, work with some really good people. Met one of my mentors at that time. And then while I was doing that, he said, did you ever think about putting your two passions together, which are education and soccer, and, doing something with that, because with the team as well, we started doing like little clinics up at 7th and Radnor in Harrisburg.
Oh, yeah.
So we would go down and help the rec program there, because a lot of their coaches weren't, they were just people, right? They weren't coaches that were like new to the game. So we would go down. I mean, we're not doing anything really anyway. We were, we trained in the morning and then outside of like bugging our friends who had real jobs, right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't have anything to do. So we would go down there, and then it started as just like a kind of a one-off thing, but people like myself and Mike Williams and a couple other people who really kind of cared about kids who looked like us, who were playing the game that we loved, decided to do that a little bit more consistently. So we started taking, even though it wasn't like on the books of the Wildcats, we started taking some of our players down with us.
That's pretty cool.
We would consistently do that like every Wednesday.
And like, what time frame was this? Like, what years were these?
This was probably like 2001 era down in there. So we would do that consistently. And then like, that guy at the school, Eric, who was my mentor at the time, Eric Ward, he helped me put the foundation together. Cause I was like, man, we need to get money and we need to provide resources because the kids were coming. They didn't have cleats. They didn't have, like really matching uniforms and stuff like that. It was one thing for us to give our own money, but what he said to me is like, if you want it to be impactful, you have to set it up the right way, right? So if you create this 501c3, then people can donate. It can be tracked.
Because then you're an actual nonprofit.
Yeah, and then
right.
An actual business, and then like people can track things, and they'll feel safer because like right now they're just giving it to you, right?
Yeah, they're like, I don't know what that was.
Right. I had a decent reputation at that point, but they don't know that like,
right.
Hey, just gonna go blow it and spend it, going out or doing whatever. Like, so we created this organization. So that's when we created the JT Dorsey Foundation,
which was like 2007.
2000. Yeah, it started
kind of before,
thinking about it before then, but we established it in 2007 with myself and a few other people from the school that I was working at who really kind of got behind it and helped me with a lot of the paperwork and all that other stuff because
we need help because like I wouldn't figure it out on my own.
Heck no, man.
Like I there's things that I ask for help all the time. And I will tell you, I got sober in 2008. That's the first time I asked for help. And my life's been better ever since. just because I was just like, dude, I can't do this on my own. And we start to realize that we're like, people want to help us.
For sure.
And, just a quick stat on this. So you start this 18 years ago. You start the foundation. You become a nonprofit. And in that time period, you've literally helped 12,000 kids in under-resourced communities. Like when I say those numbers, is that like mind-boggling to you?
Yeah.
12,000 kids. Yeah. Is there any like personal transformations for yourself or for kids that you've seen that stand out? Maybe for like a kid, like specifically that you remember.
Yeah, I mean, like just even more recently, we had one of our female players. She picked up soccer at a late age, and she was really nervous, and but she's a first generation here, and she got into soccer, started playing, got real excited about it, saw that it was more than just like us trying to win games. It was more about a way of creating community and those types of things. She was a really good student, and through our Future Leaders program, and some help that we have from our college admissions person, she helped her get in. She's now at Elizabethtown.
Oh,
full ride.
That's amazing.
She's not playing. I think she might be playing club, but first generation, her parents are like, I remember going, because we collaborate with the organization called the Michael J. Santana Foundation, who helps with scholarships and stuff like that. Partner with them, and her parents crying, so excited about her being able to go to school to continue her education.
And that's one of the things that people need to understand about the JT Dorsey Foundation is that you're not just focused on soccer. Like there's other things you focus on, especially with your background in college as education. You're very academically focused for these kids.
Right.
So let's talk about this girl. She gets a scholarship. She's playing club soccer. You don't get a scholarship for club soccer.
Right.
So she has an educational. And that's what you guys are focused on.
Yeah.
Because it's NCAA. They're student athletes. Students the first word, athletes the second. And sometimes that's hard to understand. I have 3 nephews, Josh, Levi, and Seth, all play college soccer. So one's at Bloomsburg. He was on the team, switched to club. It was just too much for him at this time. Then I have my 2 other nephews, they're seniors at Cedar Cliff, and they're actually going to Westchester to play. So, but they have a chance to play on the team or the club team, and I think they might choose the club team only because they might want to enjoy a little bit of college. It can be a lot. Like you played for Loyola, that's not an easy thing to do. Is when kids get out to like, I want to play college sports, play college sports. A lot of times kids get into it and they're like, I didn't realize it was going to be like this.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it helps. I mean, I think for me, it was super helpful with the discipline of, having a report somewhere and stuff like that. And
I would have done well with that.
Openly and honestly, my worst semester was my spring of my senior year because I didn't really have the accountability.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, soccer's over.
Yeah.
Right.
To Brad.
I got to go to big grades.
Right. So, but we try and stress academics and mentorship, and really we just use soccer as the hook to help bring other resources around for kids and families.
Yeah, because you can open the door and say, listen, we're here to play soccer. And then when they're there, it's like, okay, now let's focus on some other things like your academics, how you doing in school. Some of the other stuff you guys focus on is healthy eating habits. Because especially in under-resourced communities, that's hard to get is healthy foods.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through a little bit about some of the stuff you guys do with that?
Yeah. So, we can't necessarily fill everyone's fridge with,
Understood.
healthy food, but we can teach them how to, that hopefully that, with the character things that we talk about, and nutrition is built into kind of the lessons, right? So, like for example, the kids might be playing a game, and it might be a one-on-one game, but we might call their number and they kind of run out onto the field or throw the ball out. And then we'll call out like a healthy food or a junk food.
Oh.
So one goal is junk food. The other goal is healthy foods. So if they're playing against each other and we say broccoli, not only are they playing against each other, but the decision making on which goal is the healthy food and which goals are the
Oh,
fun
that's
food.
cool.
So we kind of intertwine that within all the lessons. So we're kind of teaching through play and those decision makings. And like, it's funny because I had a dad come to me and say, "Hey man, this is great. My kid's having a good time and stuff like that. But like, you're kind of messing up wing night for me." Right.
We talked to my buddy Jeff, who just sent me a text this morning. It's like, they're like, "Hey, you want to go to lunch tomorrow?" I was like, "Sure." He's like, "John's not me." He's like, "You're not going to want to go. It's wing day." Which I want wings.
Right.
But I shouldn't be eating them.
Yeah.
But it's funny you talk about this when it comes to nutrition, because I'm 45. Over the last couple of years, I've started to really understand some foods you think are healthy just are not healthy.
Right.
Like grabbing a Gatorade is not a healthy drink. Like, yeah, it has electrolytes, but it's filled with sugar and it's corn syrup. So if I'm going to drink a Coca-Cola, I drink those, the Mexican Cokes, the tall glass bottles.
Yep.
It's pure cane sugar.
Okay.
So there's a difference there.
Right.
I drink a lot of soda water. I don't drink just regular soda anymore. I try not to have processed foods. Like, there's so many things that we put in our body. Like my buddy Juwan says, like, this is your second brain. So you put it in your body. The first thing that it does is affect your actual brain.
Right.
So the better I eat, the better I feel,
Right.
not only health-wise, but literally mentally. So if you can ingrain that in these kids where they can start to learn things that I haven't learned until I was 43,
Right.
because it's not taught. It's not taught the way it should be. So, like, I think that's an important thing, even if you have to mess up somebody's wing night.
Yeah.
And I do love wings.
Yeah. So we do like the finger test, right? So
Tell me this one.
So that is like, you ever see a bag of Takis or anything?
Oh, yeah.
So your fingers are orange.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So like kids come up and we're like, "Hey, show us your hands." So if your fingertips are orange, we know what you've been having for yak, right? Like,
Yeah.
So we try and, although we understand that there's food deserts and, there's only certain things that are accessible in certain communities. And, the reality of it is to eat healthy is expensive.
It is.
And if you're on a fixed budget and you're trying to feed a few mouths, like you're going to have to take,
It's tough.
You're going to have to take the route that more people eat. You're not going to cut up an apple for 5 of you.
Well, that's some of the things that I've learned. And like I said, this is all new to me, and I'm not a kid. Like, you're teaching this to kids. Like, there's ROA or RAO. It's a spaghetti sauce, and they make pasta. It's like one of the healthiest ones you can have. Like, there's no added sugars. There's no, preservatives, things like that. So there are healthy routes to it, but it's so hard to find them.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, in a lot of the communities, some of the only places, like, I travel to hunt a lot, and some of the places I go to, they're low income areas. And the only thing you can go to shop at is the Dollar General.
Right.
And they're not filled with a healthy vegetable area. They're not. So your resources are your resources. This is what you get. So that makes it difficult for especially a lot of families. Yeah, and you're right. Especially if you're feeding 7 people. Like, how do you do that on a budget?
Got to make it stretch, man.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, some of the stuff you guys, like I said, you focus on is also like life lessons. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So a lot of people that are in the education world understand what's called social-emotional learning. It's really a new buzzword for character.
Oh.
So even in our lessons, like, those things are built in, and like we have weekly themes, to talk about integrity, respect, relationship building, communication skills, those things, and those are built in intentionally in the lessons that we teach and we give the kids. So again, another learning through play model, and we have these kind of like halftime talks that are built into the practices where a coach may give the kids a question and they have to work together with other teammates to kind of come up with answers to those questions and solutions and things like that. So we talk to them a lot about getting along, working together, resiliency, integrity, what do all those things mean? Respect, because we use the word respect a lot, but like we don't get into it a lot of times. Like, we don't define it with kids. So we try and define that. What does that look like? What's it look like to be a good teammate? How do we show up here? those kinds of things. And hopefully that transfers into school and then supported by the school, which then hopefully translates into their lives.
And even like simple things like a kid from the other team falls on the ground and you help them up. Like it just shows, a caring respect for the other players that are on the field. Like I love that stuff because I've coached sports for many years and I know I ref. And when I see a kid do something like that for another team, like I love that. Like that makes my heart melt. It's like that kid's got it. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows what respect is. And you guys really focus on like mentorship too. So like somebody like myself could reach out to so it's jtdorsey.org.
Right.
And if you get on your website, like first off, it's a very well done website. I don't know who did it, but it's really nice. But there's all sorts of ways you can get involved in what you do from, you guys heavily on inspiring academic excellence. So like how do you guys work as role models to help kids understand like how important academics are?
Well, we try and put them around caring adults on a consistent basis, right? So we're very upfront about, people that want to volunteer and people that want to be involved. It says, listen, like, you're better off telling us what you can do from a minimal standpoint than trying to overpromise and deliver.
Oh, amen. Yeah, I get that.
So, we try and make sure we're real intentional about the people that we bring around, the kids. Not only are those people necessarily top of their class, so to speak, right? But there's also people that have had a tough journey and want to just, through the lessons that they learn, be able to hopefully help the kids avoid some of the things that they kind of ran into. We talk to them a lot about their circle of friends. They say, show me your friends and I can predict your future. Right.
So my dad's like the biggest piece of advice I ever got was you are who you hang out with. And I was a bad kid. I was an addict. I hung out with addicts. And until I changed my people, places, and things, that didn't change for me.
Yeah, for sure. So, and then we talk a lot about, and we preach this kind of religiously, is be a person that adds value and not somebody that takes it away. And, so we ask all the people that come in touch with the organization to just add value, and some of that value is just showing up, being kind to others, being respectful. Some of it might be, here's a check, right? Yeah. Some of it might be, and when we start to talk about like kind of adults and stuff, we talk about time, talent, and treasure, right? So if you have time, can you give time to the organization, right? Maybe that's a volunteer, maybe that's helping at an event, maybe that's even just taking the opportunity to do something like this to even talk about the organization, right? And spread the word. Because we talk a lot about friend raising, not necessarily fundraising.
Oh, yeah, I like that. So, I've never heard that.
Yeah, so we feel like we can develop friends of the organization, and as long as we continue to do the right things for the kids in the community, then the funds will come, right? Talk about their talent, right? Some people are like, JT, I don't have any time, I don't have any money, but, I have this talent. Maybe it's photography, maybe it's, being able to help us line the fields or any of that stuff.
Like, that's what I mean?
So
it all counts.
Yeah. So they'll come and they'll give us their talent. Right. And then some people are like, yeah, I got talent. I don't really have a lot of time, but I got money. So JT, annually here, you can count on this check for $10,000. That's going to go to the organization. So we appreciate that too. So we ask people that when they want to get involved to look at, those three things, your time, talent, and treasure, and try and tell us how you can be connected to what we do.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing because you guys really are. I mean, it's obviously soccer focused, but that mentorship really seems to be like a central part of your mission.
Yeah.
Because without the volunteers and without people donating, whether it's time, money, resources, like it doesn't survive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the mentor piece is, we even tell our coaches, like, we teach nutrition, right? So we get it. You're coming from work. trying to speed over to the field.
Don't bring your sheets bag.
Yeah.
With your chicken fingers.
running out to the field with a greasy bag. Like, it's just not. It's not
That's
helpful,
awesome.
right? So, like, listen.
Practice what you preach, right?
Shoot me a text. Be like, hey, I'm here, coach, but I'm starving, so I'm going to stay in my car.
That's
I'm going to scarf down this burger, and then I'm going to come out, as opposed to being like, oh, I'm going to run out to the field with this greasy bag and have it sit next to where the kids are.
That's
like,
so funny.
That's not. So, because they're watching you, right?
Yeah.
They're picking up on all these things.
And kids see it all, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they see it all.
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff that I can tell you that I saw growing up that I was like, and then I picked up on it. It's like, well, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. It's like, you can't tell me to, go eat an apple. You roll up with a bag of White Castle.
Oh my gosh. I ate 15 White Castle burgers once.
One time?
And one time my buddy ate, he only had like 11. He took 4 home, but I had 2 French fries and like 3 Dr. Peppers or something. I was sick. That felt like disgusting. But we drove there just to eat that. And like, there was a guy that came up to us. I'm not proud of this, but there's a little proud. There's a guy that came up to us and he's like, "Are you here every week?" And I haven't seen anything like this in years. And I was like, yeah. Now, 2 years ago, I lost like 40 pounds. I put like 15 back on, but because I get stuck in that. I get stuck with food. So the body requires food. So to get rid of the drugs and alcohol for me, I got sober, blah, blah, blah. Felt fine.
Okay.
But I keep circling back to sugar. I keep circling back to carbs, fats. Like, my brain has a real trouble with that. And like, that's the biggest thing that I fight with every day is food.
Yeah.
So like, I'm going out to lunch today and I'm going to a place where I can eat really good or I can eat really bad. So I'm already talking myself. Like, I've been coaching myself all morning on like, get the salmon salad, Henry, get the salmon salad. And when I get there, I don't know what my brain's going to tell me to do, but I have to like focus on this 24/7.
Right.
And it's hard, man. And especially, and how much it's so much harder, especially when, like we talk about the under-resourced community. Like, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah. But you have to try and be intentional.
That's like me. Like, I'm trying to be intentional this morning, but it doesn't mean I'm going to win.
Right.
And it's me being honest, because it's something that I struggle with, man.
Yeah.
Like, I do every day.
But understanding that, right, is like,
what's step one?
Part of the battle, right?
It is.
When we talk to the kids and we say, hey, we know you got to run into that corner store to get something, but is there a chance that you could do something like not grab the hot bologna?
Yeah. What about a Lair bar? Like,
yeah.
Because I even struggle with that. Like, I was eating those Lenny and something cookies, like their protein cookies. They're not good for you.
Yeah.
But for months I ate them. I was like, yeah, these are good. It says protein right on the pound. Right. Dude. There's also something you could tell people that I use. It's called Yuka.
Okay.
YUKA. It's an app. Has a carrot on it.
Okay.
You can literally like open it up. I'll take my drink, scan it. It gives it 100 out of 100. So like, I'll go through different foods. Like,
so that'll tell you like how good it is for you.
It's not perfect, but what it'll tell you, like, no additives. So, and if something's like a 30, so like a Monster drink's a 39. A Celsius, everybody thinks Celsius is good. It's a 39. So we used to drink Topo Chico, which was like really big. It's a soda water. So 98 out of 100.
Okay.
Well, then Coca-Cola bought it. No offense to Coca-Cola. Right. But now it's like a 38 out of 100 because of the additives that are in it.
Yeah.
So I try like to eat better, but sometimes it's so hard. Even if you go into Sheets, you go to like the little healthy section, it's like the size of this piece of paper. Right. It's like there's 2 items, but you still have to look on the back of the label.
Yeah.
I watched a video the other day, this little girl, she's probably like 5. She's got a bag of Doritos and she's reading the ingredients, and she's like mind blown on what's in it.
Right.
5-year-old.
Yeah.
She looks at her mom. She goes, "You used to eat these." She's like, a whole bag at a time. She's like, "That's disgusting." Like, so there is more information today.
Yeah.
Like, are you able to like share that stuff with the kids? Like, is that some of the stuff you guys talk about? Like, it's not just what you think you're eating, but what's in the food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I mean, and this is what's cool is that it not just being about soccer is like our coaches come with those types of things, right? They come and, so now I'm going to go back with this
Yucca.
Yucca thing.
It's awesome.
And share it, with our coaches and with our families and stuff like that, because they want their kids to be here. The kids want to be here. Sometimes kids don't realize like, what could happen to them, 20, 30 years from now. But like they do. And sometimes when the families like embrace it, because sometimes we'll give out healthy recipes for them to, make as a family, once a week or something like that if they want to try it. So we do those types of things. If they, and we focus that on like, hey, if you do have to go to the Dollar General to get stuff, we're not going to solve all of it, but here's a couple of healthy choices.
And they can use that app.
And then now that they can use that, when they go there, they can go, oh man, that's a 10. Oh, we're definitely going to leave that there.
You would not believe the stuff when I go to the grocery store and go to the organic section. I click on it. It's like 7.
Right.
Because I want chocolate all the time. Dude, it is so hard. And then it's got to have dark chocolate. I don't like dark chocolate.
Right.
So I want like, you know what I mean? So it's so hard to find healthy items. They don't make it easy for us.
Yeah.
Which means they don't make it easy for youth, which
Right.
is really tough.
Right.
Because I can tell you, like when we were kids, the way McDonald's fries were made is completely different than the way it's made today. Like I haven't had one in years.
Yeah.
I miss them.
Right.
But I don't eat them.
Yeah.
But I also mess up with other stuff.
Right.
I might have had 5 pieces of pizza every day. So, hey, everybody, I wanted to talk to you about A+ Mortgage Solutions. They're one of our sponsors, Jeremy and Angie McMichael. Not a couple, but they're phenomenal. They are great lenders. They have worked with hundreds of buyers on my team over the last couple of years. If you need help with a mortgage, whether it's a HELOC, a mortgage, anything, any questions you have, refinancing, check the link below. Their information is there. Now back to the episode. So let me talk a little bit about, can you give me some of the specific obstacles that you guys face, like on a daily grind in what you guys do?
Yeah. So space is one.
Oh, that's huge right now.
Space is wow. That's a tough thing. And being based in Harrisburg, and all of our programs from, Harrisburg to Lebanon to Pottstown to Coatesville to Philadelphia, space is very tough. Most of the places where we're working, there really isn't any green space, so we're doing soccer in gymnasiums. We're doing them on the macadam outside on the playground. So space is very, very tough. Funding is always difficult. Transportation.
That's a big one.
A thing. So, we've even gotten to the point where we've tried to like help mobilize like church vans.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of times like they're moving people for a Bible study, right, on a Wednesday, and then they're moving people on Sunday. The rest of the days they're kind of sitting a little bit dormant. So can these church vans help mobilize and pick up kids and get them to the fields, and then back, to the church safely, stuff like that. And finding quality volunteers that are going to stick it out. You know what I mean? Like, so, and also too, like we develop and build like quality coaches because we have a lot of trainings and stuff that we do, to help coaches create really good environments where kids belong and feel like they belong. But then people realize that their coaches are good, and then they try and, hey, come over here. Coach over here, we'll pay you to go. You know what I mean? Like those kinds of things. So like trying to hold on to people is
it's tough.
Tough one too. Yeah.
Yeah. Like last night, my sister asked me, I'm a member of like an Elks Club that she runs, and they have a drug addiction group that they work. It's a volunteer position. Sure. And she asked me to lead it. I'm like, well, it's typically the first Thursday of the month, which I can't do. I already have an obligation for the first Thursday night of the month. I was like, can I change that? She's like, yeah. She goes, and she said to me last night, because she knows my schedule, she's like, let me look and see what the actual requirements are to see if it actually is something that fits your time. Because I don't want to go into it and then step away because I can't give it enough time. So that's one of the things that I loved how you said, like, we'd rather you promise us a little, then overpromise us, and then not be able to fulfill what you're doing. Because that can also hurt the kids. Like, hey, I really liked Coach Henry. Where's he at? Like, he couldn't do it anymore. Like, that can affect the children and their mindsets as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, and to be transparent, like, I was that kid who was waiting at the door for my dad to come and pick me up when he said he was supposed to be there at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and then it was 11 o'clock, and then it was 12 o'clock, and then it was 12:30, and my mom's like, hey, come with me. We're going to go to the store. I don't know that he's showing up. So, we're really big on be there when you say you're going to be there. And it's okay to tell kids when you're not, right? Like we think sometimes that we're trying to protect them, and I'm probably guilty of this, as probably anybody is. Sometimes we take on the fact that, like, I don't want to say that, I don't want to tell people that, I don't want to worry them, I don't want to stress them, I don't want to do this. But, like, it's okay to tell the kids that, like, hey, I got a doctor's appointment, or I have to go do this, or that you're not going to be there. It's better that than have them not see you and then like make up stories or try to guess where you were. You know what I mean? Like, it's better to just be open with them and tell them that. And sometimes, because we don't run it all year. Like, we usually have to take a break during the winter, because then we have to start renting field space, and
it's expensive.
Yeah, you're looking at $175 to $200 an hour. Right? So, like, we tell our kids that, like, hey, we're taking a little vacation, and then we'll be back in the spring. But let us know if you're playing basketball or any other things that you're doing.
Even if you just showed up to one of their games.
Yeah, for sure.
How important is that?
Yeah. So, I've been to basketball games, karate competition, wrestling things, parent-teacher conferences. I had a mom come to me and say, hey, JT, listen, I love my daughter. We're having trouble with her teacher. Can you help me with this parent-teacher?
Wow.
So as if I go,
it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
That's amazing. Well, at least she knew her limits.
Yeah. So she knew her limits, and, I'm sitting there with the teacher and saying, hey, what can we do to help? And so we've shown up in many different ways.
And I think one of the things that it's really important for people to understand that I think is not talked about enough is how service work can keep you so much healthier mentally. Like, for me, I have to do, like, since my lifestyle changed 16 plus years ago, I had to get into service work.
Right.
Because if it's all about me, then I'm no different. I'm just without the drug or alcohol. I'm still the same jerk. So for me to do the service work was really important. That's how I ended up getting into coaching. And it started off as selling hot dogs at a concession stand. Yeah. Like, whatever it starts out at, whatever you can do to help is important. So for you, if you ever need me to come talk to kids about, drugs and alcohol, things like that, I'd be more than happy to share my story at any point in time.
Appreciate it.
Also, if you're looking to help, just get on his website. There has been over 1,000 mentors in your program so far. Like, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 volunteers to help you through your program. It's been going on, like I said, since 2007, jtdorsey.org. There were so many ways to help. The golf tournament, which I'm going to get a team together for. This is at Sunset Golf Course. It's Friday, May 16th, 2025. Register online at jtdorsey.org. This is actually how I heard of you, was because of this golf tournament. So super excited to play in it this year. I will check with Brooks and see if he's going to be there. So if he doesn't have a team, I'll make sure I drag him. So
and just so people know, it is called Far From Par. Oh, so the expectation is not high. It's not high.
Yeah,
like we actually have prizes for the team that comes in last. To be fair,
so, which is good.
Yeah,
that will not be my team.
Yeah,
we will dominate. Just kidding.
Come have a good time, meet some people, network, and it's a good cause. So we try and have fun when anything we do. So,
was there any other things you want to talk about, or ways that people can help that you want to throw out there last second? Like, because this is the Good Hustle, so this is all about people doing good things and how they hustle. And I mean, for you, this is since 2007, 12,000 kids. That's a huge hustle.
Yeah,
like that is as good as it gets. So, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I just encourage people. We'd love people to join our organization. That'd be awesome. But I really just encourage people to to give back wherever, whether it's at their church, at the school, in their community. Because what we don't know is there's a lot of people that are hurting out there. And, I just encourage people to smile every day because smiles are contagious.
Oh, super.
And, that smile that you give to someone that they take on and maybe pass on, you never know if that could literally save someone's life. So I encourage people to just think about others in that way every day and just take that hustle and keep grinding and make sure that is a thing that they do every single day, whether it's with us or with some other organization.
Yeah, amen. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in May.
Yeah, for
Thanks,
sure,
brother.
man. Appreciate you.
Yep.